the intent with this keynote is to bring you the world that I believe you will be faced with in 2026. And some of these, I think I've never stood in front of you with so much disruption and so much technological change as is happening now. I am absolutely shocked, and I think I will share some of those examples with you at how fast technology is evolving. What is it that we are bringing together, every single person here in this room? What is it that we bring to the world? Well, I think we're bringing one of the world's largest, if not the largest, production-on-demand print clouds. I think that if you look at the size of this network and how many we reach, it's 32 countries, it's 5 billion people with overnight delivery. And we have done this by only focusing on software. I started my career working for Jan Stenbeck, the founder of Vodafone, Millicom, Metro International, one of the world's largest newspaper at the time. So this is pretty amazing. Like, if you think about this, we would not be able to do this, any one of us, single-handedly. And then you think about tariffs, you think about war, you think about political divide, you think about the creator economy, you think about e-commerce. What is going to happen to local production, local distribution coming 5-10 years? This is the only slide I think you need to remember. Of everything you see during these 2 days, this is the only thing you need to remember. The whole world is moving from centralized mass production to local on-demand production. And this is incredibly powerful for you guys and girls. This is an inevitable change. And it is fueling the growth in digital printing. And we have not seen the start of this. This is my belief. We have everything in front of us. I'm going to pepper you with some numbers, and I have sources on everything, because some of these numbers you will see today you will not believe. But I have sources of everything. So there are 4 key themes that will shape this industry going forward. So the first one, if I can do one module, if I would be you and implement one single module out of everything we've built, it would be procurement. The procurement module, the software in GelatoConnect Procurement, is the starting point for everything you do in your business. If you nail procurement, you will kill your competitors. I swear to you. Think about this. What is the total cost of your product divided into cost of material and shipping? I would estimate if you have 100 on revenue, you probably have 40 to 60, depending on the business you're in, on cost of goods sold. Then you have another, depending on who you are, 5 to 15% in shipping. Shipping is important, but procurement will kill you or catapult you. I don't know if you recognize this. This is the average view I have in a procurement, in a warehouse, part of any of your businesses. And then you can say, well, I actually have my shelf to the right looks a little bit better. But it's the same problem you're faced with. This is where you need to start. Everything should be in your phone. Everything should be AI powered. You should not take any procurement decisions on your own. AI should do it for you. And Jesper has come from nothing a year ago to now fully deployed. And the growth we're seeing, the profitability we're unlocking is insane. So 40% too much capital locked up in Jesper's warehouse. But not only that, it gives you a better ability to serve your customers because you never run out of stock. And never running out of stock is a key item for customer satisfaction and net promoter score. So you need to balance minimal warehouse, so you lock up minimal capacity and capital, but at the same time, always have enough to sell when you get orders in. Theme number 2, product expansion is the single most important driver for growth. And I will give you all the numbers in the presentation. But if you're sitting here thinking about your business and where you want to take it this year and next year, product expansion, and product expansion is not necessarily, I need to go from paper into apparel. That's not what we're speaking about. We're also speaking SKUs, stock kept units. That's also product expansion. So if you're in apparel, you're selling this, you go into hats, you go into towels. Like that is also product expansion. So why then go back to GCP if you think about this and you think about product expansion is the single most important thing? When you're on GCP, you can expand with new products faster than with any other solution in the whole world. And if you don't believe me, prove it to me and show me that solution. So you don't need to invest in more machines. This is also one of my key themes for today. You need to exploit the existing machines to their maximum potential. So product expansion fuels the need for a single operating system. Okay? Let's look at why it is so important to do product expansion. So the number 1% of the fastest growing printers on the planet, they add 7 new SKUs per day. Number 2, and now we go into product expansion, and I know some of you are thinking, should I move into apparel? Home decor and apparel are growing 26 and 28% respectively in CAGR, compounded average growth rate. This is incredible numbers. Number 3, and this is super, super important, and why when we speak about the software power, you have to have software to personalize. And so if you think about personalized production or personalized products are growing 35% CAGR. But when you personalize, you can mark up that same exact product. You have the same production cost. You have the same click charge. You add a personal element and you can charge 20 to 50% more. It is a margin booster, but it's a margin killer if you don't have the software. Lastly, and this is what I am excited about, and this is what I'm going to speak about today also to you. What is e-commerce? E-commerce is not Shopify and Amazon only. E-commerce is Mercedes that you are handling manually today, and you are not able to personalize. You are manually touching every file. We have new technology that we will show you today and tomorrow. One is StoreLink. And what StoreLink will do for you is you will take all your old web-to-print crap solutions and be able to use the absolute latest AI-powered front-end technologies. We will allow you to take all of those web-to-print solutions, merge them in one, bring Shopify stores in it, bring Etsy stores in it, have one single layer of technology stack, and one single pipe into your facility. So, what I'm saying is Mercedes is actually e-commerce. But up until now, we've not, and I don't know why I only say Mercedes. I can say New York School District. I can say Accenture. I can say Karcher. So all of those customers that you have on B2B, those are e-commerce customers. It's just that you up until now have not had the technology to treat it as e-commerce. This is a shift that is inevitable. It's a shift that you must do. In addition to all of that, e-commerce is boosting and is growing super fast. So you want to be part of that growth as well. I have deliberately chosen this here. And I choose this word because of the story I told you about Michael, who said, "Why did you not scream louder, Henrik?" We are, objectively speaking, at the forefront of AI. We no longer do coding. Like if you look at GelatoConnect, the person leading that, Alyssa, we have a bunch of engineers that are only deploying agent swarms. These are agentic networks. We don't do coding any longer. What happens to the velocity? What happens to the speed of change? So you have to adapt or you will die. This is my belief. And then again, I'm not saying things to agree with you. I'm saying things because I believe in this. I want to show you a clip. Everything changed on 6th of February this year. On 6th of February this year, Opus 4.6, Anthropic's code tool, was released. 15 minutes later, Codex 5.3, which is OpenAI's coding model, released. And all of a sudden, the world changed. Boris Churnney here, he's head of Claude Code. He comes from Meta before, where he led engineering. Meta is a company in the US, and Claude Code will, I don't know if you understand what it says in the below, but I will try to give you an analogy, okay? The analogy is, there is a new car company, and by end of this year, 25% of all the cars in your country will be this car company. That's the mind-blowing number at the bottom. It's a number that should shock everyone and terrify everyone, which is why IBM fell. How much in one single day? 14%. How much has been evaporated since February 6th in all software companies? Over $1 trillion. $1 trillion. The world is changing, and I want Boris to speak about it.
What I'm hearing here is there's always this question, should I learn to code? Should people in school learn to code? What I heard from you is, your take is in that a year or two, you don't really need to.
My take is, I think for people that are using that are using Quad Code, that are using agents to code today, you still have to understand the layer under. But yeah, in a year or two, it's not going to matter. I was thinking about what is the right historical analog for this? Because somehow we have to situate this thing in history and kind of figure out, when have we gone through similar transitions? What's the right kind of mental model for this? I think the thing that's come closest for me is the printing press. And so, if you look at Europe in the mid 1400s, literacy was actually very low. There was sub 1% of the population. It was scribes that, they were the ones that did all the writing. They were the ones that did all the reading. They were employed by lords and kings that often were not literate themselves. And so, it was their job of this very tiny percent of the population to do this. And at some point, Gutenberg and the printing press came along. And there was this crazy stat that in the 50 years after the printing press was built, there was more printed material created than in the 1,000 years before. And so the volume of printed material just went way up. The cost went way down. It went down something like 100x over the next 50 years. And if you look at literacy, it actually took a while, because learning to read and write is, it's quite hard. It takes an education system. It takes free time. It takes not having to work on a farm all day, so that you actually have time for education and things like this. But over the next 200 years, it went up to 70% globally. So I think this is the kind of thing that we might see, is a similar kind of transition. And there was actually this interesting historical document where there was an interview with some scribe in the 1400s about how do you feel about the printing press? And they were actually very excited, because they were actually, the thing that I don't like doing is copying between books. The thing that I do like doing is drawing the art in books and then doing the book binding. And I'm really glad that now my time is freed up. And it's interesting, as an engineer, I sort of felt like apparel with this. This is sort of how I feel, where I don't have to do the tedious work anymore of coding, because this has always been sort of the detail of it. It's always been the tedious part of it, and kind of messing with Git and kind of using all these different tools. That was not the fun part. The fun part is figuring out what to build and kind of coming up with this. It's talking to users. It's thinking about these big systems. It's thinking about the future. It's collaborating with, other people on the team. And that's what I get to do more of now.
I will show you the implications that these changes have had in Gelato last 24 months. And I will ask you a question. What type of organizational change have you done? My team size, and this is, when I was CEO for Tele2, which was a $500 million company before I founded this company, I came and the CEO of Tele2 Group, Lars-Johan Jarnheimer, he's now the chairman of IKEA. He said that you have 3 months to turn this around, otherwise we have to bankrupt the company. And so one of the worst, absolute worst things as a CEO that you need to do is take some of those tough personnel decisions. But I had to learn how to separate between the CEO role and Henrik as a person. And I think that separation for all of you in this room, I don't think has ever been more important coming 12 to 24 months. You can stick your head in the sand and say, it's not going to affect me. I don't need to make the changes. You will not be able to compete with the person next door who's doing the changes. So this moves me to theme 4. Software for 2026 and 2027 is absolutely going to beat, in terms of power, any press investment you can do. And you can think, well, you're just standing there on stage selling. Listen, I am in no problem. I will show you the numbers we're doing. Like, I don't need more sales. I do this because I am completely passionate and convinced that we can build something magical, something powerful together. It sounds trite. It sounds a bit like up in the sky. I don't care. That's how I feel. And so I truly, truly believe that software is the only thing that can save you. Go somewhere else. You don't need to come to Gelato. Go somewhere else. I don't think you will find it, but go somewhere else. But for God's sake, obsess about software. It is the layer in your facility that will allow you to see everything that is going on. And I will show you some numbers on how much the print industry is investing in software compared to all other industries, and it will shock you. Here's a paradox. I've taken the average in this room and in this industry, okay? I'm so deeply passionate about this because I know that you can absolutely crush it in your market. But you're not, because you're ignoring software. Not ignoring, and absolutely not everyone, but far too many in this room and in this industry thinks that it is about the new shiny machine. So the average is 5 to 15 millions when you bang it all together in assets. So, software. The average engineer in Gelato, if you include insurance, social taxes, and office costs and so forth, is 150,000 euros per month. Per year. That is the cost of basically buying the full suite of Gelato. The full suite, tutti balutti. And I'm going to buy a new press. I'm going to get a new press, and then everything will sort itself out. I tried to put words to this, and this is what I felt. Machines make products. Software makes profit. And the winner will invest in both. I am not saying you should not invest in machines. I'm absolutely not saying that. I believe that I showed you the numbers on product expansion. But you need to understand, I am not standing up here selling. Yes, I am selling. But I don't sell because we're desperate to get your money. I sell because I'm desperate to disrupt the market. That is what gives me energy. And if we are going to disrupt the market, we need software. I'm going to play this to you. I did a podcast Monday this week with Andy Golton, head of production for BSG. It's a $6 million printer. What they have done since they deployed the AI Estimator is they've catapulted growth 30%. He speaks for 17 minutes about how this has completely changed his life. But, they won contracts worth $1 million since they deployed the AI Estimator. Why? Because they front-loaded the AI Estimator and the customers were amazed. Finally, we can save the time and the money, and we don't have to sit and speak to you. And I will show you some numbers about who is your buyer now. New statistics that have just come out from Gartner. You think it's the golf tournament, guys? This here is a tool for the next generation to engage with your facility and your machines. So let's hear what Andy has to say. Artificial intelligence.
They're using Zaston MIS system for the way of estimating and then following the work through the production. That software I feel personally, just hasn't developed as much as I feel it should. We don't have the AI tools running alongside it. It was time to look at something new, time to change and get on board with the Gelato, the AI Estimator, which when I first saw it, just completely, it just completely wowed me. It really did. The first time I saw it, I thought, wow, we can now use how long did I say? 35 years of my experience is all now in a software package that I can give to all my sales people, all my internal, I suppose, customer service representatives, so they can all give a price and I know it will be accurate.
And when you think about the bottlenecks also, how do you think about the bottlenecks 1-2 years from today? Let's say 1 year from today, with what you know today about the AI estimator.
Yeah, so the AI estimator has definitely given us the ability to grow and grow very quickly without having to hire more staff, without having to retrain internal staff. It gives us that flexibility just to expand very quickly and confidently, which is what I like. I think I suppose the first time I saw our estimator, I didn't anticipate that actually we could grow that well and that fast. It's a massive vertical for us in our business. We want to grow print manufacturing. I don't believe print is dying. I just believe it needs to change. And this is one of the best ways of changing.
And your margins in your business are found below the surface. And what will unlock those margins is software and AI. And I think the combination of software and AI is very important to point out. It's not software only, it's not AI only, it is software and AI. And then you can say it's the same thing. I don't think so. I think AI is an accelerator. I think AI is the rocket fuel for software. But software is the rocket and AI is the fuel. My personal opinion. But it's not only margins that are found with software. And this is so important. It is also how you find your customers today. Because the customers are changing much faster than you realize also. The customers don't want to go, and again, I will show this through data. They are not golf obsessed. They are Amazon obsessed. They know what a good purchasing process looks like. And they don't want to go back to the golf tournament, play for 2 days, and then make a purchase of, a big print order or something. It's okay to play golf. My dad loved golf, but it's not how the next generation of buyers want to engage with your business. So this brings me to who is your customer? In February 2026, who is your customer? What's the difference between consumer and B2B today? There is no difference. This is the crazy thing. If you live in New York like Stefan, the expectations of people working at Ramp or LinkedIn or Microsoft is putting a high demand on your sales force to change. What is the sales force today? Is the sales force about to educate on your software, on your front-end solution? Or is the sales force about sitting and calculating on a single job, calling back, they call you, and then the average touch point is 7 times in this industry for making one purchase? Or is the sales force actually about, here is how our front-end solution is working? And by the way, here are 15 other customers that are using the exact same software stack. These are your buyers and sellers when they are off duty. Or, sorry, perhaps it's this. Or that. Or that. Well, I don't know. But these are the type of people that are wanting to engage with your company. And you need to adapt to these people. I will show you some numbers to why. In 2026, did you know that 71% of everyone making a purchasing decision in the B2B industry is born after 1990? Is that how you think about your sales force? AI Estimator, 2,000 per month. That's crazy. Let's go and buy a new machine instead. Did you know that 80% of all purchasing decisions are done before the Gen Z and millennials speak to you? What does that say about the need for StoreLink? What does that say about the need for AI Estimator? 80%. These numbers are here, they're real, and they will massively impact your business in 2026, whether you like it or not. You can choose to stick your head in the sand, hope for the best, and say $2,000 for an AI estimator. That is way too much. Or you can say, these people here, do they want to call you and speak to your salespeople? Or do they want to go to your webpage, go to their own storefront, buy whatever they want, whether you like it or not? This is the new generation of buyers. There are more. 55% of all B2B transactions over $1 million. I want to share some other numbers that will probably surprise you a lot. And it has to do with the importance of speed when it comes to a request. It turns out that speed is not a good thing. Speed is a determinator of if you will win the order or not. Period. Full stop. I will show you all the data. This is why the AI estimator, in one way I can say that, well, the combination of storefront and AI estimator is basically opening up. It's like taking two giant doors and opening up your facility to the outside world and saying, hey, come, use our machines. And the only thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you get the right margins on the customer. So if you have a consultant company that is willing to pay a bit more, you punch in 42% gross margin on this customer. If you have a school district that only allows 18%, you punch in 18% on this customer. Boom, you leave, you never have to think about it again. And then all of a sudden, what happens? So, how many B2B deals go to the first vendor that responds? Think about a number. 50% go to the first vendor. 50%. So just by improving your speed, you will win 50% of the request. How much more likely is it that you will win a lead that you contact and respond to within 1 hour? Think about a number. 7 times more likely. I even have PSPs and people in this group, in this room and outside that are saying, we don't have a problem with estimation. It's pretty fast. It's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 20 minutes? Agencies did in 20 minutes. Like if it's more than 15 seconds, you will lose that agency's attention. And this is already 70+% of all the purchasing decisions in 2026 in B2B taken by people born after 1990. How important is this? So AI is changing the world. So let's dive into why. You remember I showed you Boris and the podcast with Lenny. I have 2 sentences here. And it's the second sentence that I want you to focus on. How many here are using agent swarms? And if you say yes, I want to know what type of tools you're using and how they're communicating to your tech stack. So it also says that it is not easy to tag along in the age of AI. It requires an incredible attention and incredible engineers. And to get incredible engineers, as I showed you before, you have to have anywhere between 100 and 200,000 euros per year. And those are, not the best engineers you can find on the planet, but it says something about what you should expect. We have about 140 people now working on building GelatoConnect. Although they're not all engineers, but what is an engineer today? The point is we have 140 people just building software every single day. And you feel that in the pace. One person came up to me yesterday and he said, I think it was Andreas, and he said, from SES, Andreas said, things are moving with the speed of lightning in Gelato. I've never seen any, I can't keep up. But that's why we are partners. You're not intended to be able to keep up with everything. That is not how partnerships function. So let's go through, and this is just the last couple of years. In 2022, AI could do basic arithmetic. In 2023, it could pass the bar exam. In 2024, it could write working software and explain graduate level science. In 2025, the best engineers in the world had handed over most of the coding to the AI. But on February 6th, everything changed. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to us? How do we navigate this? I want to show you how many have seen the New Year celebration from China. These are robots, and I will come back to February 6th. So I left you hanging there. I'll come back to it. But these are robots dancing and doing martial arts with some boys in China. I have a question for you. How many robots will operate in the Chinese society by end of this year? Think about a number. Think about a number. In Oslo, we are 600,000 people. In Oslo. 2.5 million. You know the average price for a robot that you just saw? 15,000. I'm telling you, if you don't start taking this seriously, your business will perish. Because the person next door that is doing it will just speed ahead. I don't know. Simon and I have discussed, how do we approach the robotic challenge? I have started to study the robotic landscape quite in depth, especially when you couple it with AI. I absolutely don't have a clear answer. I can just tell you, this will completely change the world already this year. So what is happening in the robotic landscape when you add AI is absolutely crazy. We have investors such as SoftBank. We have investors such as Goldman Sachs and Insight Partners. SoftBank especially is very advanced in this. This is a field in its own. And the advice I would give you, start with the software. Throw out everything. Sign up with MIS with Gelato. Decide to, and you're laughing. You don't have to. I don't force you. But I'm telling you, this 2026 wave is going to hit you so hard. And you think you have your own MIS and you're very proud of it and blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you, it's as crazy as saying that I'm going to build a press and outcompete HP Indigo. That's not why we're here. We all, in this world, the best way of surviving and thriving is to know, what is my core competence? What am I truly good at? So if I can give you any advice, start with the software. In parallel, we should have a think tank where we speak about how do we navigate robotics? Because robotics will hit this industry already in 2026, but especially in China, and we will not know about it. How many here have followed the development of Optimus, which is Tesla's robot? Okay, Optimus 3 is coming now. 9-10 weeks, they say. Already, with Optimus 2, they could take up an egg, put it in an egg cup, and let it go. And now, Elon Musk says, this hand gestures that are coming with Optimus 3, that's a different level. I don't know what's coming. What will these robots be capable of? What will be the price of those robots, right? Like, so Optimus at scale, I don't know, probably expend 30, 40, 50,000 at scale. What's the cost of an employee? Like, and then you say, you're a horrible person, Henrik. How can you sit there or stand there on stage and say these terrible things? Well, that is not a successful strategy to have. So we need to relate to it, although, like, I have 3 children. I'm, like, thinking about them a lot nowadays. So let's go to these. So February 6th, I said everything changed. What was it that changed? On February 6th, with Opus 4.6 and Codex 5.3, OpenAI versus Anthropic, the following happened. You went from assistant to autonomous worker. You describe the outcome and walk away. And it thinks on its own, it criticizes itself, it changes, it evolves, it builds again, comes back, criticizes again. And then 36 hours later, they built the whole tech stack. And then they come back and you engage with the AI one more time. So Opus 4.6 can work for 36 hours nonstop without you having to do anything. AI development judgment. Now models makes their own decisions. Again, I don't have any say on the development of this. I just try to relate to it. I can read these things and I can hate it. I don't read these things and naively say, I love this is really cool. I read these things and I'm like, what is Livia, my oldest daughter, going to do? Like, what is her role in society? Like, I have all these questions. AI started to build itself. So Sam Altman made a daunting statement. Sam Altman said, actually, Codex 5.3 was built by Codex 5.2. The timelines collapsed. Opus 4.6 was released, and 15 minutes later, Codex 5.3 was released. And then Gemini have launched Anti-Gravity, which is their equivalent of Opus 4.6 and Codex 5.3. And Gemini says, you just wait and see. We're going to release soon. So when I speak to our engineers, their approach is very productive. They're like, we have to accept that our branch, the way we got to know it, is dead. Now we are orchestrators of agentic networks. Boris, which you saw before, he has minimum five agentic networks. And each agentic network can be 4, 5, 6, 7 artificial AI coders working in parallel. So he has, on average, 25 to 35 engineers that are living in the artificial world coding for him. I want to share this because, again, I absolutely don't want to come across as naive or glorifying this. I'm actually also, just like many of you, I assume, very confused about how should we actually relate to this. This is what the CEO of Anthropic is saying. Imagine by 2027 that a new country appears overnight with 50 million citizens. And I go back to how many robots in China? 2.5 million. That is equal the estimate of the 4 largest countries in the West. So that's 5 million. Every robot more capable than any Nobel Prize winner, statesman, or technologies. They think 10 to 100 times faster than any human. They never sleep. And this could arrive already this year or next year, but definitely before 2030. So this is the world we're living in. Elon Musk predicts that he will, with Optimus, produce about 100 million robots before 2030. This is why I say that it is about software. 2026, for this industry, it is about software. Software is the only thing that can prepare you for this. You don't have anything that can speak to anything if you don't have software end-to-end in your facility. I think this is the inflection point. And I really say this again because I'm a crazy founder. I founded this company 17, 18 years ago. When I was leading Tele2, I made like $1 million every year at the age of 33. My mother cried unstoppable for days when I resigned, and she asked, what are you going to do? And I said, I have no clue, Mom, but I don't like it there. I don't have a vision. I only cut cost, I let go of people, I drop prices. There is nothing in telecom that excites me. And so I founded this company because I wanted to do something that excites me. And this is the most exciting industry in the world if you just have the right lens to it. And if you stop thinking that you're a software company, just as you don't think of me as a producer or process. There is so much value from a customer perspective and the end customer perspective that we can bring when we have a pure software customer-centric approach to value creation. If you're on GelatoConnect, you can also start to ship orders between each other, and you can grow your customer accounts. Here are some of the tools that we are using and deploying in Gelato when it comes to AI. It's something, that I'm sure you don't know these tools. And if you do, you're in the wrong business. You should be in software and you should build software. But if you don't, you should also just realize that we all have different roles to play here. I just want to say that this here is the water is rising. I think this is a very important quote. The water is rising. It's hard to stop the tide, but we can adapt to it. And we already now have AI agents and agentic networks that are working for days. In Create now, we don't do, as I said with Alyssa, we don't do any coding. So what if you don't change? Just have a couple of examples. This is if you don't change. Another is this. This is if you don't change. So what does the demand for the next generation, from the next generation implies? I wanted to share another data point that I think is very interesting. So the new type of B2B customer is expecting faster delivery, higher degree of personalization, and thus the size of all the print jobs are going down constantly. And here you see by 2027, so this is already next year, up to 70% of all the jobs will be less than 100 units. So if you think about, and I know it's hard for you to believe, but you can criticize key point intelligence here, but if you think about the other data points that I showed you, 71% of all the B2B buyers are born after 1990. Think about what does that mean in terms of what are they buying? How are they buying it? What do they expect from the delivery? What do they want from the product? What implications does that have for what you're delivering? Printing United Alliance research has found that over 50% of each customer requests rely on spreadsheet calculations for cost estimations as well as scheduling. This is 2.5 times higher than any other manufacturing industry. Key Point Intelligence Workflow Investment Outlook Survey found that PSPs automate less than 20 to 30% of their production end-to-end. This is 70% in other manufacturing industries, end-to-end automation. And this was the slide I spoke to you before about. This is Gartner IT budget report. If you would think about this and just put it on the medium here, 5% of your revenue should be in software. What does that imply? So, and then you look at the others and you think about the wealth creation last 2 decades in each of these industries, and you think about your own business. Where were you 10 years ago? Where are you today? How has the profit margins evolved? How has the growth evolved? And so I think that this is a reality check for many of you in terms of, where are you going? Where are you taking your business? So what does change look like inside Gelato? I'm going to be a bit, I'm going to be a bit transparent with you now. So I'm going to share some numbers that I haven't shared publicly before. I'm going to give you first 2 examples. So these are things that we have done. We have merged engineers, product managers, UX, UIs. They are now one person, and we call that person the builder. This means that product management has been reduced by 60% during the last 24 months. It means that our engineering number has gone down by 50%. And it means we don't have UX, UI people any longer. And 24 months ago, we had 12. Change number 2. Gelato had 17 full-time people doing quality assurance. So when an engineer deploys a code, you have quality assurance people to check the quality of the code. We have now replaced all 17 with AI. I ask you what type of changes, and I know that many of you, it's not like, so many of the, if we just take the slide here, the quality assurance people, many of those people I had worked with for 7, 8, 9 years. I still love these people, but it is my role as a CEO to take these difficult decisions. I have spoken to every person. I've never delegated that. I have spent a lot of time writing the reason for why we had to make these changes, but I've looked all of them in the eyes. But the change had to be done. And so you have to ask yourself in your company, what changes have you done? And how are you preparing your business for what is to come in 2026 and beyond? Because any change, I would argue, and then again, let's agree to disagree, I would argue in 2026, you have the same amount of change that you've had during the last 10 years. So we have a 60 million consumer business. It has been completely reprogrammed from 45 people to 8. It did 10 now. I used ChatGPT, so miscalculation. But it's 8. Our Create business, 70 million euros in our revenue. We were 164 people, and now we are 60. GelatoConnect, which is, what we're speaking about, we were 24 people. We're now about 145 people. This is where we as a leadership team, the board, choose to allocate our cash. It is about GelatoConnect. This is the high order bid. This is what we believe is the future for this industry. But consumer and Create represents very good growth for you and for us. And it allows us to execute high altitude training camps on Mount Everest. It's our high altitude training camp. That's where we can run, but we can never hide. This is also why Rebecca and the network team will be very firm going forward now that every customer that is producing for us has to be fully deployed on GelatoConnect, fully. And why is that? Because we see NPS scores much higher. We see dispatch on time much higher. They never run out of stock. They deliver on time. They have lower error rates. We see all these things because we have end-to-end visibility. We were 366 people 2024. In 2025, we were about 270. And now we are 165. This is about a 60% reduction. What does your team look like today versus 2 years ago? And this is also like, these are things that I struggle with. Like, I don't stand here and say, I'm very proud of this. I stand here and say, these were the changes that I believed as the CEO of Gelato that I had to make. And it is, I'm often thinking like I have 3 people on my shoulders and head. I have my grandmother here, and like, because she had beautiful values, and I often think about her when I go into these type of meetings. I have Jan Stenbeck here, one of Europe's most successful entrepreneurs. And I have PwC up here. Am I taking, responsible, accountable decision that our shareholders will respect and PwC will approve? When I go into these type of meetings, Jan Stenbeck forces me into those meetings, and my grandmother helps me navigate them. And the outcome we show to PwC. This is Gelato's development 2024 to 2026. And I would like each and every one of you to reflect upon what are your own development looking like. If we think about from a cost reduction perspective, I mean, we've done many things also, because what this allows us to do is also to resize offices. We've been very, very aggressively terminating softwares that are redundant. We've cut $33 million now per year in cost. And I think you need to start reflecting deeply upon what would it take to reduce your cost base 20%? And if you don't do it, the woman, the man next door will do it. This is what you need to think all the time. You don't define, how do you win a Formula One race? Not by having a fast car. It's by beating the others. Of course, fast car is good to have, but you still need to beat the others. All the cars in Formula One are really fast. So this is our growth that we expect this year. It should be 2026 there. Went a bit quick here this morning. And then last year, we deployed consumer and create are cash flow positive now. So they generate cash for us. Everything we deploy here is for you guys. 26 million last year. I have nothing to do with the AI development in this world. Absolutely no impact. I'm just trying to adapt. So it's time to move towards growth. What has happened during the last month? I'm going to show you now what we're doing and how we, thanks to automation and software, can accelerate growth. But before we get in there, I just want to show you the overall architecture of Gelato and how we're thinking about it. So this is at the core. This is GelatoConnect Procurement. This is GelatoConnect Workflow. This is GelatoConnect Logistics. This is the starting point for everything. Then, when you have that in place, you have the AI Estimator on top. Now we're adding StoreLink. And what StoreLink gives you is basically one single tech stack to manage all your old web-to-print orders, all your old and legacy burden, PDF files and FTP boring connections that takes a lot of time and often breaks, but also connect to Shopify, connect to Etsy, connect to Amazon, like all of the e-commerce sellers, plug and play, a couple of clicks, and you're integrated. But if you do that before you have GelatoConnect Procurement, Workflow, and Logistics, or before you have AI Estimator, we believe you do it in the wrong order. And it's going to cost you a lot because you won't have the profit margin to support it. What the AI Estimator is actually a growth tool more than anything else. And we will now, I will just say that 1st of April, we're also launching that for apparel. So here's a typical apparel order that you could win. Taxi Stockholm. We want 5,000 t-shirts, 2,000 hoodies, and 1,000 fleece jackets, and then 5,000 caps for our summer party. That could be punched in the AI Estimator on Tidy Merch webpage, and within 15 seconds, they have a price. And then they can directly see if you have that in procurement. And if you don't, boom, automatically order so you have it next day. Like, it's basically a growth engine that we're putting in place here. Now we're launching Gelato MIS. And I encourage all of you that can to sign before you leave. And I will explain why you should sign before you leave. Because we have 240 customers in the pipeline right now. We have another 320 banging on our door as we have launched the AI Estimator for packaging. We are going to prioritize based upon who signs first. Simple as that. But since you have spent time and money traveling here, we have a proposal that I will come to that is a proposal that I think has absolutely zero risk. It's only for you, and I will show it to you later. Okay, so what is the AI Estimator really about? I'm going to show you now what you must prioritize in your business in order to grow your revenue profitably. Okay, so AI Estimator, it's instant quoting by salespeople and customers. And sorry, it went a bit quick here. I made some changes this morning. Jesper, you said to me, I've rethought my whole hiring plan for this year. I'm not going to hire a salesperson. I'm not going to hire an estimator. I'm going to go all in with the AI Estimator. You saw the numbers in terms of conversion rate, what will happen with your conversion rate. It removes bottlenecks between growth and headcount. This is the first type of software that truly disjoints growth with headcount growth. Top line growth with headcount growth. You don't need more people to manage more volume. We made a quick calculation yesterday. With an AI estimator, you can do 4,000 calculations every 24 hours with the current speed. And these are not like, what's the cost of 200 business cards? And someone here asked me yesterday, but you don't have packaging in the AI estimator. We do have packaging in the AI estimator. We launched it last week. And now we're launching apparel 1st of April. It turns printers' websites into a 24/7 automated sales engine. And imagine your salespeople if they become educators of your software tools. Instead of, I wait 2 hours and I'm going to come back with a cost quote, which, by the way, you don't like and you think is too low and it doesn't have the right margins, it doesn't have the right cost, you need to do it again. And these are not lastly, these are just 4 examples, it's not lastly. So it unlocks entirely new digital sales channels. And this is what I want to speak to you about now. Look at top left. It says, calculate price directly. That's the AI estimator. What are we doing now? This is so cool. This is what I love about being an entrepreneur. You know, I said to Pradeep and Stebjörn like 4 weeks ago, I said, let's combine everything we've built in Optimal Print, everything we built in Create, and then we give it to the industry. We give 17 years of online marketing expertise, and I would argue one of the world's most advanced online marketing AI-powered engine. We give it to you. And then we give StoreLink everything we built during the last 6 years so that you can go and win new volume, click 4 times, and you connect a new store to your facility. So what happens when we marry your web page, the AI estimator, and our capabilities from 17, 18 years of consumer sales and 6 years of Create? This is Optimal Print. Let me tell you a bit about Optimal Print. It has millions of keywords. It's managed by one person who is one of the smartest people, if not the smartest person, no offense, that I have ever worked with, Sven. Sven and I have worked together on this journey for 17 years. He was the first hire outside of Tele2. He manages millions of keywords, 40 product categories per country in 20 countries with 16 different languages with AI. We are giving that engine to you now. We set up Simon's campaign, Jesper's campaign, Paul's campaign through our tool. And we're going to tell you a bit about what we're doing. Before that, it's, as I said, 60 million revenue, 12 million in cash. Why can it be 12 million in cash? Well, you saw what I've done. We've gone from 45 people to 8. It's $1.5 million roughly per employee this year. It was about $1 million last year in cash. And now we use Geotargeting, which allows us to only bid for the keywords in the Gothenburg region when customers are searching for keywords that are linked to what Jesper wants to sell. Jesper owns this region. Why? Because he has the most advanced AI estimator. He has the most advanced online marketing engine. And we geo-target. We only bid for what is in this region, nothing else. What happens to cost per click? What happens to CAC, cost of acquiring a customer? It goes way down. How can we do this? Because we have the AI estimator and we can give a quote in 15 seconds. How many searches do you think is done per day in Gothenburg on apparel, packaging, printing, paper, brochures? Thousands. So let's bring this to GSB. And we have had a number of exchanges about this, Stefan and I and Stefan's team and my team, what we're now doing here and what we can bring to a city of 20 million people and billions of dollars in print. It is staggering. But if you're not on GelatoConnect, if you are not fully automated end-to-end, this will not be possible. Now we go to Create. What is it that we built in Create? We built the most efficient sales engine, online marketing engine, and e-commerce engine in the creator economy. No, like objectively speaking. What StoreLink allows you to do is take everything we've built for this for the last 6 years. I think we made a quick calculation yesterday. I think we've probably invested just building this $50 million. just the technology behind this. JC in Florida, ICA, I think, he was able to discontinue 17 people sitting and doing mockups and building web page content and just replaced it with StoreLink. 17. So for him, it's like, and Charlie, you said to me, this is the only thing I'm going to focus on in 2026. This is the holy grail. This allows me to connect to the world of e-commerce, but also rethink and reimagine and reprogram my old web-to-print solutions. So we have automated every single step of connecting and activating a new customer. This is a 70 million business, 15 million in cash this year. Gross market value, which Printful and Printify speak a lot about, it's about 210 million here, which means it's the price that the creators are speaking about. So they buy a t-shirt for 10, they sell it for 30. They buy a hoodie for 15, they sell it for 45, roughly. And this is 16 full-time employees with about 1 million each in cash. This would not have been possible if we didn't take difficult decisions, if we didn't deploy software end to end and stay at the forefront of technology. Every single day we sign up 800 new creators on Create, 800. And with the changes we're now doing in the network, we're deploying more SKUs, we're moving into new product categories. I think this year, I think we can crush it. And my revenue number, which I didn't put on a slide, but which I've communicated is, Gelato will hit €1 billion in revenue 2028. That is my target. And I think that is fully doable, based upon what is happening in the world, based upon the creator economy, based upon how far ahead we are in AI. And that volume will go to our Connect partners. So StoreLink, in one way, is described like this. StoreLink allows you to manage hundreds of web pages branded in your company's profile. This is a very simple way of putting it. So, end reflections. We have about 240 prospects in the pipeline now. We're onboarding about 70 new PSPs. It's so good to see so many new faces. And by the way, for you that are nearly falling asleep, I'm soon done. We will prioritize onboarding PSPs in the order of signature. The AI Estimator has moved into packaging. Everyone knows this now. It is in packaging. Next week, we will start to contact the customers that have been waiting for us to launch packaging. Those are 320. And the next step is to launch it for apparel. Our target date is 1st of April. The AI Estimator is not a cost estimator. Cost estimation is one thing, but it should be just tick in the box. It's a hygiene factor. The AI Estimator is a growth engine that allows you to dominate your local region. And when you combine it with StoreLink, you can have an even more aggressive thought process about how you can grow. Procurement warehousing is absolutely key. Product expansion is absolutely fundamental for growth, and it does not need to be a new machine. The AI revolution is here. If you don't adapt, you will die. Everyone that ignores this will die. And then software will be more powerful than any new print press you can buy. And so lastly, I want to show you this slide, because this is a slide that I think a lot about, and it gives me an incredible amount of motivation. It is that a mega city should produce what that mega city consumes. If you think about what we showed with the AI Estimator, with the web page, with like how we're now tying that together, and you go local and you go into your community, you go into your city, this is such a powerful vision we all can have jointly in this room, because we will not be able to deliver upon it if we don't work together. So with that, thank you very much.